What would happen in the market for surfboards if the price of inputs used to make wetsuits increased? So we're going to do this whole thing in red, or this kind of salmon. If the price of inputs used to make wetsuits increased, while at the same time technology used to make surfboards improved. Assume surfboards and wetsuits are complements. So this part is going to go ahead and go with the red, and then we'll do this last thing in pink. So while at the same time technology used to make surfboards improved will be in pink. Okay, so the price of inputs used to make wetsuits increases is going to make the supply of wetsuits decrease. So here, this is the wetsuit market over here, and that's important to notice. So the supply of wetsuits is going to decrease from S to S prime. And so that's going to change the equilibrium over here from A to, we'll call it B. That was a horrible B to B. And so as we can see, price is going to go from P to P1, and quantity will go from Q to Q1. So now how does that translate over to the market for surfboards? Well, we know that surfboards and wetsuits are complements. And you know what? I'm actually going to go ahead and grab a different color for this. I'll grab this kind of light blue. So, knowing that surfboards and wetsuits are complements means that if the price of wetsuits increases, then the demand for surfboards decreases, because that's the definition of a complement. One of the ways to define a complement. So basically the best way to think about it is that wetsuits and surfboards go together. You need a wetsuit and a surfboard to surf. And if wetsuits are more expensive, then people are going to have less money to spend on surfboards, so demand will decrease. So we're going to have demand for surfboards decreasing, and I'll redraw that line a little neater, from D to D1. And then we're also going to have something else going on. We're going to have the same time technology used to make surfboards improves. So supply will go from S in green to S1 over here. So we are going to go from point Z all the way over to point Y. And as I've drawn it, quantity stays exactly the same. The actual answer is that the change in quantity will be uncertain, because this could have shifted a lot. It could have gone all the way over to here for supply, or demand could have shifted a lot and it could have gone all the way over here for demand. So because the magnitudes matter, we don't know what's going to happen to quantity, but we know that price is going to decrease. So P is going to go from P down to, we'll call it P2. So we have the change in quantity is uncertain and price decreases, which is H. And again, I just want you to see that this is really just like doing two different questions all at the same time, and if you draw it out, it's really not that complicated, but going super slow and drawing it out and thinking it all through can get really confusing. So I just urge you to go slow on these kind of double problems.